You know that feeling? When someone texts you and your whole chest lights up like a firework display? When their name on your phone screen makes time stop for half a second? When you catch yourself smiling at nothing and you realize, oh no, this is happening. If you're feeling that right now, if you're standing on the edge of something that feels too big to name, then this video is for you. Because what I'm about to tell you will either save your heart or break it open in the most beautiful way possible. And before you scroll away, let me promise you something. The movie references, the philosophy, the research I'm about to share, none of it matters unless you understand this one truth first. Love is not what you think it is. And that's exactly why most people lose it. Drop the word ready in the comments if you want to hear the truth about what falling in love really means. Because trust me, this isn't the fairy tale you were sold. Let me take you back for a second. Think about every romance movie you've ever watched. The Notebook, Titanic, La La Land, gorgeous stories, right? Beautiful people, sweeping music, rain-soaked kisses. But here's what they don't show you. The part that comes after the credits roll. The morning breath. The arguments about whose turn it is to do the dishes. The moment when the butterflies settle and you're left staring at an actual human being with flaws and bad days and weird habits. The philosopher Alain de Botton wrote in his book, The Course of Love, that we've been fed a dangerous lie. We've been taught that love is about finding the one, that perfect person who completes us, who requires no effort, who just gets us without trying. And when that fantasy collides with reality, when love starts feeling like work, we think we've chosen wrong. We think the magic is gone. But here's the villain in this story, and I need you to pay attention because this is where most love stories die. Convenience culture. We live in a world of swipe right, next episode plays automatically, 2-day shipping, instant gratification. We've been conditioned to believe that if something is difficult, it's not meant to be. If it requires effort, we're wasting our time. And love? Love became another product to consume. Another thing that should arrive pre-packaged, perfect, effortless. Share this video if you've ever felt like giving up on love because it got hard. Because what I'm about to tell you might change everything. The ancient Greeks understood something we've forgotten. They didn't have one word for love, they had 8. Eros for passionate love, philia for deep friendship, pragma for long-standing love, agape for unconditional, selfless love. They knew that love transforms, that it moves through stages, that falling in love is just the beginning of the story. Erich Fromm wrote in The Art of Loving that love is not something that happens to you, it's something you do. It's a practice, a discipline, an art form. You know how you can't just pick up a guitar and expect to play Mozart? Love is the same way. It requires dedication, study, patience, the willingness to fail and try again. But here's the beautiful part. When you understand love as something you cultivate rather than something you find, everything changes. You stop looking for the perfect person and start becoming the right person. You stop asking, are they making me happy? And start asking, am I capable of love? In the movie Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Joel and Clementine erase each other from their memories after a painful breakup. But even after everything is wiped clean, even after they forget every fight, every hurt, every reason they split, they find each other again. And at the end, when they discover they're doomed to repeat the same patterns, they choose each other anyway. Okay, they say. Just okay. That scene destroyed me the first time I watched it, because it captures something essential. Love is not the absence of problems. Love is the choice to face problems together. Now, here's the question that will either make or break your relationship, and I need you to really sit with this. Are you in love with the person, or are you in love with the feeling? Because there's a difference. And most people don't realize it until it's too late. Subscribe to this channel right now, because what I'm about to explain will shift how you see every relationship in your life. Esther Perel, in her groundbreaking book, Mating in Captivity, talks about the paradox of love. We want security and passion, comfort and excitement, familiarity and mystery. We want someone who knows us completely and someone who still surprises us. These opposing desires exist in every relationship, and managing them, that's the work. Real love isn't found in the butterflies, though God, those butterflies are beautiful. Real love is built in the mundane moments. It's in the way you handle conflict, the way you show up when they're not at their best, the way you choose them on the days when you don't feel like choosing them. Research from Dr. John Gottman, who studied thousands of couples over 4 decades, revealed something powerful. The couples who last aren't the ones who never fight, they're the ones who repair. They're the ones who reach across the table after an argument, who say, "I'm sorry," even when it's hard, who ask, "What do you need from me right now?" Love is built in the repair, not in the absence of damage. Think about before sunrise, before sunset, and before midnight, that trilogy that follows Jesse and Celine over 18 years. In the first movie, they're young and idealistic, wandering Vienna, convinced that connection alone is enough. By the third movie, they're in their 40s, exhausted parents having brutal arguments about resentment and sacrifice. The magic didn't disappear, it matured. It got complicated. It got real. And they had to decide, is this still worth it? Drop "worth it" in the comments if you believe love is worth fighting for. Here's what nobody tells you about falling in love. The fall is the easy part. Anyone can fall. Gravity does most of the work. But staying, building something real, that requires you to climb. And climbing is hard. Climbing tests you. Climbing asks you to use muscles you didn't know you had. The poet Rainer Maria Rilke wrote in Letters to a Young Poet that love is 2 solitudes that protect and border and greet each other. You don't dissolve into another person. You don't complete each other like puzzle pieces. You stand beside each other as whole people, choosing to intertwine your lives while maintaining your individual selves. This is the paradox. You must be complete on your own to truly give yourself to someone else. You must have your own identity to share in a partnership. You must know yourself to allow yourself to be known. I read a study from the University of Virginia that followed couples for 13 years. The ones who stayed together weren't necessarily the ones who started with the most passion. They were the ones who maintained friendship. They were the ones who genuinely liked each other, who laughed together, who stayed curious about each other's inner worlds. Because here's the secret. Romance fades in and out like tide. But friendship, respect, genuine interest in who they are, that's the foundation that holds you when the water retreats. So you're falling in love. Your heart is doing that thing where it feels too big for your chest. And you're scared because you've been hurt before. You're scared because you know this could change everything. You're scared because what if it doesn't work out? Here's what I need you to understand. That fear, that's not a warning sign. that's proof that it matters. You only fear losing what's valuable. You only protect what's precious. Sue Johnson, in Hold Me Tight, explains that we're biologically wired for attachment. Needing someone isn't weakness, it's human. We're not meant to do life alone. The strongest people aren't the ones who don't need anyone, they're the ones who can admit they do. Remember in The Princess Bride when Wesley says, "Death cannot stop true love. All it can do is delay it for a while." Dramatic? Yes. Fictional? Absolutely. But underneath that fantasy is something true. Love that's worth having requires you to be brave, to be vulnerable, to risk the possibility of pain for the promise of connection. And that choice, that decision to stay open, to keep trying, to fight for something real in a world that tells you everything should be easy, that's where love becomes art. Here's something that might break your brain a little. There is no one person for you. Sorry if that sounds harsh, but it's also liberating. There are probably hundreds, maybe thousands of people you could build a life with. Different versions of happiness. Different flavors of love. The magic isn't in finding the right person. The magic is in choosing someone and then choosing them again and again every single day. Especially on the days when they're annoying, when they leave dishes in the sink, when they forget to text back, when they're struggling with their own demons and can't give you what you need. Psychologist Carol S. Dweck's research on growth mindset applies here. People with a destiny mindset believe relationships are either meant to be or they're not. People with a growth mindset believe relationships are built through effort and can overcome challenges. Guess which group has more successful relationships? The ones who believe in work over fate? The ones who see problems as puzzles to solve together, not signs they've chosen wrong. So here's what I want you to do. If you're falling in love right now, if you're feeling that beautiful, terrifying pull towards someone, don't run from the fear. Let it tell you something important. Let it show you what you value. But also do this. Get clear about what kind of lover you want to be. Not what you want from them, what you want to offer. Do you want to be patient, curious, forgiving, playful, steady? Start practicing those qualities now, in your friendships, in how you treat strangers, in how you talk to yourself. Because love doesn't just happen to you. You don't fall into it and hope for the best. You prepare for it. You become someone capable of it. You build the skills that make you a good partner. Communication, empathy, self-awareness, humor, resilience. Share your story below. Tell me about a moment when love challenged you, when it asked you to grow, when you had to choose between easy and meaningful. Because your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. We've reached the point where you have to decide. Not about whether this person is perfect, they're not, and neither are you. Not about whether it will always feel like it does right now, it won't, and that's okay. The decision is this: are you willing to do the work? Are you willing to love them through the stages, through eros and philia and pragma? Through the butterflies and the boredom, and back to a deeper kind of excitement? Convenience culture will tell you that if it's hard, it's wrong, that love should be effortless. But every worthwhile thing in life requires effort. Your education, your career, your health, your art. Why would love be different? The truth is, easy love isn't love at all. It's entertainment. It's a distraction. Real love is when you see all of someone, the light and the shadow, the beautiful and the broken, and you say, yes, you, I choose you. In About Time, Tim learns he can travel through time, and he uses it to fix moments, to make everything perfect. But in the end, he realizes something profound. The imperfect moments were already perfect because they were real. He stops traveling back to fix things and starts living each day fully, finding magic in the ordinary. That's what love asks of you. To stop waiting for perfect and start building something real. To find the extraordinary in the everyday. To show up again and again, even when it's not easy. Falling in love is not the end of the story. It's chapter 1. And the rest of the book, you write it together. Some chapters will be poetry, others will be footnotes. Some will make you laugh, others will require you to underline passages and return to them when you forget why you started. But here's what makes it all worth it. When you do the work, when you choose growth over comfort, when you fight alongside each other instead of against each other, you don't just build a relationship. You become more fully yourself. The right person doesn't complete you, they reveal you. They create space for you to unfold into the fullest version of who you're meant to be. So, if you're falling in love right now, let me tell you what nobody else will. You're allowed to be scared. You're allowed to be messy. You're allowed to not have all the answers. What matters is that you stay open, that you stay brave, that you choose love even when it challenges you. Because the world doesn't need more perfect love stories. It needs more real ones. More people willing to build something meaningful in a culture that celebrates disposable everything. More hearts that refuse to give up when things get complicated. Listen, subscribing to this channel takes literally 2 seconds, and it helps this message reach someone who's about to give up on love, someone who thinks the struggle means they've failed, someone who needs to hear that hard doesn't mean wrong. Hit that subscribe button. Let's fight against the villain of convenience culture together. Let's prove that commitment still matters, that depth still matters, that real connection, messy, complicated, beautiful, real connection still matters. Drop "I choose love" in the comments if you're ready to do the work, if you're ready to build something real instead of waiting for something perfect. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it, someone who's falling, someone who's struggling, someone who's wondering if it's worth it. Because here's the thing, love is the most radical act of hope there is. In a world that's often dark and complicated and uncertain, choosing to open your heart to another person, that's defiance. That's courage. That's faith in something bigger than yourself. So fall in love, let yourself fall. But then get up, dust yourself off, and start building. Because the falling is just gravity. The building, that's art. That's purpose. That's the whole beautiful point. Now go choose someone. And then choose them again tomorrow, and the next day, and the next. That's how you win against the villain. That's how you create something that lasts. That's how you write a love story worth telling. See you in the next video. Keep loving bravely.